The Warlock has always been considered the space magic mage of Destiny, and today we're once again going to prove this to be true with one of the craziest builds you could ever imagine. The build focuses on constant healing and raw weapon damage, that's it. There's no ability spamming or fancy mod setup required. In fact, it doesn't even need armor mods to make it work. That's how good it is. Hello my fellow weirdos, how are you today? This whole build is possible because of one exotic called Rain of Fire that I haven't really seen too many players talk about, but then again, I barely talk to anyone, so there's that. The Rain of Fire is the new Warlock exotic for Season of the Haunted, and it might be the greatest exotic to ever hit Destiny 2, as long as you have a fusion rifle of some sort. The exotic perk is called Soaring Fusa something, I can't say that. Air dodge reloads all of your weapons and improves the airborne effectiveness of fusions and linear fusion rifles. Final blows with these weapons make you radiant. That to me is ridiculous. And just in case you didn't know, radiant is an empowering buff that comes from the solar rework, and it grants us a 25% damage buff to all weapons while it's active. So this exotic flat out gives us a weapon damage buff constantly and reloads all of our weapons when we dodge. It doesn't get any better than that, right? Wrong. We can make ourselves unkillable in the process. To do this, we need the healing grenade, Phoenix dive, and just a few simple aspects and fragments. The first aspect is Touch of Flame. The only reason we want this is to enhance our healing grenade. With the aspect on, it gives us 2 stacks of cure, which is 60 HP of healing per stack. I can't begin to tell you how strong this is. My friend Milky was face tanking one of the ogre eye blasts in the Pit of Heresy after he dropped a healing grenade. It's that strong. The second aspect is Icarus Dash, so we can reload all of our weapons from the Rain of Fire exotic. If you're somebody who prefers the Heat Rises aspect, you can swap out Touch of Flame for Heat Rises. You'll gain an extra dash but lose some of the healing in the process, so it all comes down to what activity you're playing and what you're comfortable with. I die a lot while floating through the air, so I don't use it. I wanted us to have some freedom. The fragments for this build are set up in a way so that we're not restricted to only using fusion or linear fusion rifles to become radiant, because unfortunately, champion mods are still a thing. There will be a time and a place when fusions can't be equipped, but we still want the damage buff, and I'm gonna touch back on this shortly. Ember of Torches is the first fragment. Any powered melee attack makes us and nearby allies radiant. It doesn't matter what melee it is, as long as we hit something with it, we become radiant for 10 seconds. But we're going to extend that timer by pairing it with the fragment Ember of Solace to bump it up by another 50% or 5 seconds. This way, we get a little more breathing room to keep radiant active. The next 2 fragments are Ember of Empyrean and Ember of Tempering. These 2 are closely tied to the first fragment and the exotic legs. Ember of Empyrean extends the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to us by 4 seconds when getting solar ability or weapon kills. And this is going to sound kind of redundant when it comes to radiant and the first 2 fragments, but it can't go above 12 seconds. It's a bit odd, but that's how Bungie designed it. The fragment is still fantastic to have equipped because it extends restoration as well, but we're also going to have those instances where we need the extra time on radiant, and this will make that happen. The last fragment, Ember of Tempering, grants us and nearby allies up to 3 stacks of recovery for 8 seconds when getting solar weapon kills. And this won't be too difficult because we'll always have the 25% damage buff from Radiant. I'm gonna assume this one is tied to how much recovery we have, but I can't be too sure. I tried testing this with my dumb math, but couldn't get anything consistent. Sorry about that. Going back to what I mentioned earlier about the freedom to use what we want when it comes to weapons and mods, this build was designed around the Rain of Fire exotic legs, and it works with any fusion rifle, but because of the fragments we're equipping, it really shines with solar fusions, like the Cartesian Coordinate, Jotun, and especially the Vex Mythic class, because that one takes primary ammo. But we're going to run into those issues where a fusion just doesn't fit the activity we're playing. In those instances, we need to start relying more on our melee ability to become radiant and any solar weapon to keep the healing and radiant going. Something solar like Ariana's Vow that also doubles for barrier champions. I would recommend speccing into high strength for faster melees. If that's not an option or you want even more melee energy, try putting together a full-on solar elemental well build because every solar elemental well we pick up grants us 10% to all our abilities. Another alternative is a Charged Light build with the mod Heavy Handed. This mod returns 50% of our melee energy back when using a charged melee, consuming 1 stack of Charged Light. An added benefit to using a charged light build, regardless of whether you need the bonus melee energy or not, is the mod Quick Charge to become charged with light from fusion rifle kills. The build is a lot of fun and only requires you to get fusion or linear fusion rifle kills to make it go brrr. By just dropping a healing nade and using the weapons, we keep restoration and radiant on a never-ending uptime. When it comes to the few activities that we can't use a fusion in, just hit an enemy with our melee to proc radiant and keep the buffs active with solar weapons. You will constantly have a damage buff and be able to tank pretty much everything, except the architects. They just don't play, sorry. That's it, my friends. That's the build. Let me know what you think of these videos. I'm trying this no frills, straight to the point Tuesday video thing. If you found this video helpful, a like would be awesome. But more importantly, be true to yourself, be good to one another, and have a fantastic day. Thank you!
And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude, crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.